Hi guys, and welcome to Reality with T. So here I am in the car waiting for my daughter who's in dance class. So I figured now is a good time to film because I can never get any time in the house. So I want to talk about Virginia and Erik. So before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. My views are going up, guys. So I'm really excited and happy that you guys are supporting me. I really appreciate it. So let's talk about Erik and Virginia. First, Virginia starts out with a conversation she's having with her sister, right? Her sister has the two kids, remember? So she comes in and, says hi to Erik. He takes the kids out. They're two bigger boys, maybe like 8 and 9 or something like that. And it's funny because the sister's like, okay, should I trust my kids with him? Is he okay? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. But it was like she hesitated. I don't know. I don't know. Their relationship is so interesting. But either way, she talks to kids about the conversation that they had about she talks to her sister about the conversation that she and Erik had about kids, about his controlling language or what have you. She talks about his political views being similar to their dad's. And you can tell by the way the sister looked like, uh-oh, that's not a good thing. That's not going to fly with you, right? So this is the episode where Pastor Cal and Virgin and Pastor Dr. Pepper, meet up with the guys and the girls. So Pastor Cal meets up with Virginia and she talks about how Erik gives her an ultimatum. If we don't have kids, I'm done. And she talks about her fear of pregnancy and being a bad mom due to, everybody's, has a fear of pregnancy to some extent. But she thinks that she'll be a bad mom because of the upbringing that she's had. You know what I mean? I guess there was she hasn't really gone into depth about it, but it seems to have been a lot of turmoil between her mom and dad. I feel like she's seen a lot. Maybe there was domestic violence. There's some abandonment issues because I know at one point mom just left and she had to stay with the aunt. And then she wasn't talking to the dad at that time for a few years. Then she had to go talk to the dad. So it sounds like there was a lot going on. And so her fear is that she doesn't want to mess her kids up the way her kids messed her up. Her parents messed her up. And I've heard a lot of people say that before. But the doctor said just because you're thinking about not messing them up, that means you'll be a good mom. You know what I mean? Because you're conscious of it. I think people don't go set out to mess up kids. They just don't know what they're doing or how to do it. And they don't know they don't understand how much how you treat your kids as kids affects them as they grow into young adults and adults. So the fact that she is thinking about it means that she'll be conscious of it and she's aware. About the ultimatums, Pastor Cal says, listen, you need to tell him how it affects you when he gives those ultimatums. You know what I mean? Tell him how you feel. And I think that across the board, none of these couples are really getting to like the deeper conversations. They tried to, and then there are things that kind of get in the way. And I think that's one of the things they need to do here. Pastor Cal talks about what does marriage look like to you and what does marriage look like to him? Because it seems like they have two different views of marriage. And I agree. I do think that Erik wants not like a down-home, stay-at-home wife, but I think he just wants a wife. And I don't think Virginia is ready for that. You know what I mean? Just, you go and hang out with your friends every once in a while, but you also come home. You respect me as your husband. We do things together. He wants them to have kids. You become kind of a family woman. It might not happen overnight. I think that he respects her independence and her individuality, but it's also like at some point you have to simmer down and become a wife. You know what I mean? Because that's what you said you wanted when you signed up for this project. So then Dr. Pepper meets with Erik and they talk about the whole dog situation. He talks about being a dog dad now that they're together, blah, blah, blah. And she asks him, why do you have to be this dog's dad? You know what I mean? This dog means so much to her. This dog essentially is her child, right? So if it was her child, like if she were to bring a kid into this situation, it wouldn't be okay for you to just step in and feel like you were an equal partner with that child. So it's not okay now. You know what I mean? This is something you have to work your way up to. You have to earn the trust and respect of not only the spouse, but the child. You can't just walk in and say, you get to punish them and I get to punish them too if it was a child. You know what I mean? I have as much say over this child as you do. It just doesn't work that way. And I think that he's going to fall back on the dog situation, at least for a little bit. I don't think he's going to let it go, but he might fall back because she did make a good point. I like how Dr. Pepper comes in and tells them exactly what it is. I think Dr. Cal is a favorite because he has personality, of course. He's kind of funny. He gives it to them straight. But Dr. Pepper she gets to that root point and she lets you know, you know what I mean? And she doesn't back down. That's why I was like, I wish she had met with Chris and let him know about himself. I wish he was talking about all this, her face isn't pretty thing in front of Dr. Pepper. She would have let him have it and probably walked out on him. Or even Dr. Viviana, you know what I mean? So, Dr. Pepper tells Erik to look at the whole dog situation from her perspective. You know what I mean? It means a lot to her. You're coming in, you're trying to control not only her behavior, the dog's behavior. You have to back off a little bit, okay? It's not okay. He talks about the partying, and she says that it feels like you kind of want to break the cycle of her partying and out with the friends and the whole thing. And she told him that's not okay either. You're not sent in to be her savior or to control her or to put her on a curfew. You know what I mean? You guys have got to come to a compromise. So then she says, listen, the girl has to go out every weekend of every month, right? Maybe you can ask for one weekend that she can just spend with you. And she also brings up the fact that the drinking is what doesn't necessarily cause the arguments, but it makes them worse, and it makes it so that they cannot get to a resolution. And she said, you can't have a decent conversation if either one of you are drinking, because that's when it gets really bad between you. So maybe, and then she talks about how she's drinking. She's like, people drink, that's fine. But if you're always having more than a few, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, what is that about? Is that okay? Is it too much? And we all know it's way too much for Virginia and for Erik, because he can't hold his liquor, right? And for his job, he shouldn't even be drinking like that anyway, because he's a pilot. So, she says, listen, maybe you can put on the table, let's stop drinking for a while so that you guys can communicate better. And you can already tell he knows that's not going to fly well with Virginia at all. He knows that's an issue. So now he got to go home and they have to talk about what was going on in their conversations with the experts, right? So at one point, Erik gets started, right? And he talks, blah, blah, blah. Then he brings up the whole alcohol thing. And she just says she gets flustered immediately. Like, I think that there's definitely a problem here. You know what I mean? She gets flustered and then she just shuts that conversation down. I'm not going to talk about it. That's it. When he talked about holding off on alcohol for a bit, I don't think she could do it. I think she needs some help. She needs some support. She brings up the ultimatum issue about the kids, and he says, listen, it's not an ultimatum. I wish you would stop saying that. I don't think he's aware that the way that he presents it does come off as if it's an ultimatum. And she was like, what if I can't have kids, and the whole thing, like, what if I get sick and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm still staying with you. You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of reassuring her. He's just saying, if we're starting out and you already know you definitely don't want kids, and I know I definitely do want kids, this might not work. But he doesn't know how to say that because he doesn't know how to deliver. He just doesn't know how to communicate. His delivery is awful, and it comes off as controlling and demanding and ultimatum-ish. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm still staying with you. There are other things we can do. Of course, if something were to happen, that basically we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But the point is, I want you to know that I want kids. There's always adoption. There's always this, there's that. You know what I mean? But the thing is that he wants kids, and I feel him. Like, if you know right now you don't want to have them, what's the point of this? But it's the way that he's delivering the message. He brings up partying, and he asks, can I have one weekend a month that we just dedicate to us? And he kind of says, you have to understand that you have to cancel for me sometimes. I'm your husband. Again, the language, the delivery, we get it. First of all, I think it's absolutely absurd that he has to schedule one weekend out of 4 or 5 weekends a month to spend some time with his wife. I think that's ridiculous. And then when he brought it up, he was like, she kind of was like, well, yeah, we can do that, but you need to schedule with me way in advance. I don't want to have to cancel. I can't cancel on my friends. I don't want it to be like you just pop up and say I have to cancel my plans and then I have to be with you. I get what she's saying a little bit. Like, don't just think that I'm going to drop everything for you last minute if I have plans. But the point is, you have a plan with these folks every weekend. You know what I mean? Like, It should be the other way around. Maybe you should be spending one weekend with them and the rest of the weekends with your husband. Like, the fact that he even has to go through all this to spend time with you makes me feel like, do you even want to spend time with him? I don't know that I would want to see my friends every freaking weekend. That's every 5 days, because they're partying, remember, from Thursday to Sunday. So that's literally every 4 days. You're seeing the same friends over and over again. Like, that's bull. You know what I mean? What is this about? What is the connection to your friends? Why are you so attached to them? As a husband, I'm sure he's thinking, you hanging out with all these dudes every 4 days and can't spend time with me. What is it? And then you want to sleep on their couch and not come home. Like, what kind of woman did y'all match me with? You know what I mean? Like, I think in the next episode, he's going to bring up, like, no, I want you to come home. Like, that's not normal behavior for you to be a wife and sleeping on some other dude's couch while you're knocked out drunk. You know what I mean? This is not going to work. I don't see it working. Even if they say yes on decision day, it's not going to go far past that. Yeah, so I'm wondering, I wrote down, like, why is the connection to her friends so strong? And I don't know, she just has very unhealthy behavior and unhealthy habits. I think that these are coping mechanisms for all the things that she's dealing with. She also says she has anxiety. She needs to find healthier coping mechanisms if she ever wants to have a healthy relationship with a man and be a wife. I think that's what she thought she wanted, but she didn't really think it out, because to me, before she even she probably should have had that last night out with her friends. Like, all right, y'all, I'm not going to be seeing y'all that often. I'm going to be a wife now. My life got to change. I feel like Woody did that. You know what I mean? Everybody was like, oh, Woody's a party guy. Woody's a... And he was like, nah, like, I'm done with that. I did it. I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to be with my wife. Then, yeah, y'all can still have fun together. But damn, every few days, like, he shouldn't have to schedule with you 4 or 5 weeks in advance to spend a weekend with his wife, because you are prioritizing your friends and putting them and their needs over the needs of your husband, which is, he just wants to spend time with you. You know what I mean? So this is a horrible match. Let me know what you think. Like, please, comment, subscribe, and I will see you for the next video. I will be talking about Brianna and, no, not Brianna and Vincent. Erik, no, not Erik. I can't get, oh my God, there's so many names. Ryan and Clara, okay? I will see you soon. Bye-bye.